Richard?
Hey, Jim, are you there?
Richard,
Yeah.
hi. Jim Masters here, Close Up Radio. How are you?
Oh boy, I'm doing good. I just had a breathing session. Anyway, how are you doing, sir?
Breathing?
Yes.
Not bad, not bad.
Good.
Are you having a breathing situation pop up?
Oh, no. It's a therapeutic process that I've got some life coaches that are helping me out with some of the stress that I'm dealing with, and yeah, I just finished really like 10 minutes ago, and I had to get dressed. So in that call, I had a t-shirt on, and that was it. So I'm better prepared today. So it was a Zoom call. So anyway, it was pretty funny. I actually I got to be the joke that everybody talks about. Don't stand up, right?
Right. Yeah. Don't stand up.
11 minutes until showtime.
Lightheaded and your sugar drops and everything. Right.
Right.
You just got to do it. Pace it. Right. To have you with us, welcome. I'm looking forward to our conversation coming up on the show in
there's
about 10, 11 minutes here.
Right. So my question is, I overnighted to the Melville office a copy of my book, a revised inside cover, preface, and introduction.
Yeah.
And did you get that?
Yeah.
Do you have it in front of you?
No, they have the book there because I'm in Connecticut.
I know. And see, and then poor Aunt, she broke her foot. Oh my gosh, really? And so she said, Rich, we'll handle it. We'll overnight it to you in Connecticut. I said, okay, thanks.
I didn't know she broke her foot.
Yeah, no, she said that, she said she fractured it. That was the text I got. So she needs, our thoughts and prayers too. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
But I've had a couple of conversations with Barry.
Until showtime.
And my last one was I have a lot of personal stuff going on as well as this other stuff, but we're
all hitting at once.
Well, the thing is that it's been hitting for years, but it's a mountain that I've taken one more stone at a time, and it's just so huge, but it hasn't crushed me. And but I mean, the thing is that it's interesting that anybody's even contacted me. It's been a really crazy, roller coaster how we got here, but it's been an apex. I lost my career from Cal Fire simply because I asked the question: is not friction loss a direct mathematical function gallons per minute? Okay, so do me a favor. Pull up henway.org on your computer. Can you do that?
Let's see. Oh, yeah, I see it right here.
So henway.org.
Henway.org,
yeah.
I noticed in the introduction that
9 minutes until showtime.
I know they said we're going to keep my introduction. Usually our introductions are a little longer. We're going to keep it shorter so you can really you're the expert in this and you can really just run with it and explain it and give us examples and even case studies, testimonials. People love that stuff.
Sure. Okay. So Henry,
how this actually works.
So did
application.
Right.
People love to hear that.
Yeah, right, exactly. And see, the thing is that I have a lot of negative I can share with this, but does henway.org work for you?
I mean, this is like your invention. This is extraordinary.
Okay, so you see the pages there. There's 3 pages, correct? 4. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, so let's pull up another one. Fireandlifesafety.org. Fireandlifesafety.org.
Fire and life.
8 minutes until showtime.
And life safety. .org.
This comes up.
This is your life's work, your life's mission to want to bring something positive to help other people.
Right. Okay. So now I want to bring up caextortion.com. CA for California extortion.com, please.
Yep. caextortion.com. All right. Extortion.com.
Okay. And then, okay, now that comes up, right? It shows a police report. Is that correct? No. Wait a minute. No, it does. There's a Butte County sheriff.
7 minutes until showtime.
Let's see. Let's try it again. It just said site could be reached.
Oh, okay, listen, GoDaddy. So we want you to hit reload, okay? GoDaddy has been financially impacted to make sure every listener, okay, gets the same result. Site can't be reached. No. It's real simple. CA for California, extortion.com. Done. Now, it worked for my person up in Canada, but who just did my coaching, my breathing coaching.
And right. I see Sheriff Butte County now.
Yes, okay. Now, so I was run off of a fire station educating 2 firefighters. I stopped in with 4 fire stations that day, and they used my UDID number on my cell phone, and they found me in the same way they'll be tracking everybody in the future with the chip, with all the satellite in position. And they found me there, and the prevention officer for CAL FIRE rolled code 3 from the other end of the county for almost 45 minutes.
Until showtime.
And pulled in, turned off his siren a half mile from the fire station, and had 4 sheriff's deputies on the way. 3 of them arrived moments after he did. The last one with his lights on. And so what happened was I said this joke about, speaking of a pig in heat, right? And so if you're a fire cop, okay, like I'm a fire cop, I'm, fire investigator, instructor, blah, blah, right? Okay, but you should run inmate crews out of a prison facility. Okay, anyway, the point is this, is that I made the joke about, if you're a fire cop, if you're a cop, you're a pig. If you're dealing with fire, dealing with heat, that makes you a pig in heat. Get it? Okay, I get all my fellow cops laugh every time they get pulled over, which is probably a lot more often than it should be. But the point is this. I go, no, I was just kidding. He goes, Mr. Hoffman? I go, did we work together? But I knew he was too young, right? And it was like, we're talking, I was there, 36 years earlier, right? In 1984. Okay. And anyway, he goes, no, I'm hereby informing you, you're hereby trespassed from every fire station statewide. Not what I know or who I know, it's who knows me. And then the dirt you have on others and they have on you determines, okay, your survivability. And I just spent an hour and 20 minutes educating a lieutenant and a firefighter how that lieutenant can use my inventions, my phone app, my mechanical slide rule, okay, to do a long minute, equation in mere seconds, okay, and in the field while under the stress of fighting the fire, okay, and they ran me off. These sheriff deputies, they jumped out of their car, hands on their weapons, unclipped them, and their blood pressure was 300 over 280, and their pulse was like 290 or whatever it was, right? And they were in fear because because they were told I was at 66p. Look at that report. I'm a 66p, and what that means is that
until showtime.
I'm a terrorist threat to these very firefighters. I'm attacking them, and that was the word we got from the word from CAL FIRE. Okay, why? Because I spent time at 3 other stations talking to people, including Oroville City Fire, about what I've invented, and left them a brochure and everything, right? But the problem is the first fire station I went to 11 in the morning, Bangor. I worked the entire fire season 1983. The captain listened to me for an hour and says, Rich, I'm going to be way too busy. The moment he went on his computer and went red on his screen when he went to hydraulicsapp.com, and he contacted dispatch as instructed. Dispatch contacted the director of CAL FIRE. CAL FIRE contacted Homeland Security and said, where is this guy? We have a terrorist threat terrorizing our firefighters. And they used Homeland Security's ability with my UDID number on my cell phone to actually find me there. And then the Matthew Malone drove all the way down. And so I said when these sheriff's deputies pulled out, and their eyes were like this, right? There's nothing more scary than being a police officer when you're about to go down, right?
Until showtime.
Well, anyway, the bottom line is this is Mother's Day, right, of this year. This is long after I was exterminated, okay? I want you to go to one more website as we're talking right now. Go to retaliation dot CalFire end, like end of an era, END, okay? CalFire and then END.com. So retaliation.calfireend.com. Okay, and this is what happened to me is that they can't have me have this information because CAL FIRE had to satisfy its budgetary needs from 1974 to 1996 upon racial hiring and timetables. And the first level officer is the fire apparatus engineer. Fire apparatus engineer is the first entry level before you become a captain, battalion chief, etc. And you go through the ranks, meeting Nixon's demands for that adherence, or you get no federal portion of your budget. So there's like, 20 cents of every dollar or whatever it is federal. Okay, and so what happened is they needed that money, and so what they did was they invented a new way of calculating this deal. But when you go to retaliation, CalFireN.com, you need to drink. Can you have 2 minutes? No, I'm on the phone with Jim right now. Yeah, right. Okay. Anyway, so the bottom line is that they surgically removed me, and when you look at retaliation CalFireN.com, did that come up for you or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first page is they placed me in rank 4, which makes it unhireable statewide. And the next page is a letter of recommendation, right? And the next page after that is I'm rank 2 in a captain's position, which is above lieutenant. Got it? Okay, above engineer, and yet I'm put in rank 4 because I know too much. Because what they do is and when you go back to the tab.
1 minute.
Okay.
Until showtime.
All right, listen. These are the 4 areas, Jim, that I need to cover. Okay, keep me focused. I want to talk about how to save a firefighter's life by putting somebody at the end of the driveway. I don't want to spend more than 5 minutes on that. And just do whatever you can to get me through as fast as possible. Okay, we go in searching for people. Okay, you'll hear about this, right? Next one I want to talk about is my notes. Okay, is lost children, right? Something happened to my daughter. It's amazing, the story of how I can prevent children from being lost in amusement parks once this COVID-19 goes away. COVID-19, we have firefighters, new firefighters, police officers who have no leave time. They're on mandatory 2-week quarantine, and they have no more leave time. They're financially strapped. Make a donation to your local fire department and police department for your first responders who don't have the money to make ends meet. Okay, because they're stuck and they're out there in the mud and the blood and beer being exposed every day.
And then you want to talk about.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3,
as well.
2,
Yes, I do.
1.
Welcome to Close Up Radio, where our hosts, Doug Newman and Jim Masters, engage top thinkers from around the world to bring you inspiration, and thought-provoking ideas you can use in your personal and professional life right now. Covering a broad range of topics, Close Up Radio digs deep to discover what makes today's top thinkers tick. Close Up Radio, where ideas matter. And now, here's today's host, Jim Masters. And welcome to Close Up Radio, everybody. This is your host, Jim Masters, broadcasting worldwide, a service of the Daily Award-winning Close Up Television. It is 2 p.m. Eastern here at our broadcast center, Tuesday, January 5th, 2021. And we thank you for making us a part of your day. Our very special guest, we have a thought-provoking, inspiring, and riveting conversation ready to go for the next 30 minutes live. Also, this broadcast will be archived, so you can hear it and share it with those that you think would find it of great value. Our very special guest is Richard Hoffman. He is a medically retired correctional fire captain, twice patent inventor of this extraordinary revolutionary talk about as well, and a fire command too, investigation, prevention, and hazardous materials specialist instructor. We're very excited to have him here on the show. We have a lot to get to, so we're going to dive in head first by welcoming him to our show exclusively here on Close Up Radio. Richard, thank you very much for joining us. I know you're a very busy person, have a lot going on. Thanks for taking time out of your day to join us on Close Up Radio today. It's a pleasure.
No, it's truly an honor on my side. This has been a wild ride. We're not here for the win, but we're here for the experience. And what an experience! And from those experiences, we can learn. And God gave us the ability to speak. And this is an opportunity to learn how you can actually turn the tables around. And I want to talk about 4 different areas:
Absolutely.
How to save a firefighter's life. Okay, as a fire victim, what? Yeah. Okay. How to prevent a child from being lost.
I just want to say first, thanks for your service as a correctional fire captain. Well, thanks for your service to the community and everything that you've done.
Well, extend that to my son, who's
to create this.
Yeah, and I'm going to say extend that to my son.
We're going to talk about it as well.
Yeah, extend that to my son, who's I have 5 wonderful kids, But my oldest son, Junior, he's one of the youngest ever Special Forces rescue swimmers in naval history, and he came up the enlisted side to now become a pilot. He's a naval aviator, and instead of pulling the trigger from an F-18 killing people, he's flying the Admirals at 35,000 feet in what's called a P-8 Poseidon with two F-18 wings on each wingtip, and he's trained how to aggressively maneuver a 737 passenger plane in a manner to get those admirals home safe. And he'll be flying air tankers when he gets done with that career, because he's already going to know how to fly into deep canyons where he has to go, to protect the people that, especially on the West Coast after the barrage that we just had the last.
You've got to be extraordinarily proud, I'm sure, huh? Wow.
Very much so. Thank you.
That's incredible. Absolutely. So yes, protecting firefighters and watching out for them in the way that you have, in the forward thinking manner that you have in the creation of this particular device. Let's talk about that. The inspiration you have to want to watch out for firefighters, protect firefighters, and to make things go smoother when they are, working on various situations where there is, a fire situation happening before their eyes. Tell us about that. Your desire to really want to, help them in the way that you do.
Right. Well, everybody asks, when you first knew I wanted to be a firefighter? The first time I was in trouble for playing in the fireplace, learning fire behavior at age 2. Okay. But anyway, the point is that no, it's I've been blessed with a lot of abilities, and it's like, where do we apply this? I got the Bank of America Math Award in high school and got through college level calculus, blah blah. It's like, so what, right? And so what I invented was this mechanical slide rule, in which I couldn't actually complete until I was falsely accused and placed in jail for a while, giving me 18 hours a day to work on it. And then that was then the inspiration for the phone app, and the phone app mimics the slide rule. But you go to hydraulicsliderule.com and you go to hydraulicsapp.com, and that will get you there. Everything is going to be at this one place called everyonegetshome.org, and everybodygetshome.org goes to the same page, and all my links will be there. And I got a gentleman back in Florida that's doing this for me, because GoDaddy's they've actually blocked a lot of my sites, especially during the Wildland Urban Interface Convention, where international firefighters would learn the technology of what's at the slide rule on the hydraulicsapp.com. And it's hydraulicsliderule.com, sorry. Anyway, the point is this, is that, it's not what you know or who you know that determines if you get the job or not. It's who knows you. And then once you're across that bridge, then it's all about the dirt or whatever you have against each other, and the survivability determines, promotion. Anyway, so the point is this, is that I discovered something as to why I was hurt for the first 5 years as a Cal Fire firefighter with no radio and not having enough water pressure after graduating top of my class in college. And so when I discovered what was going on is that, Cal Fire teaches a different method than what's internationally recognized upon 275 years of research since 1745. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants to produce what I've produced. And the phone app's not ready. It'll be ready by Friday of this week. I had way too much going on to get the help file done, but that'll be there. You can go to apple.hydraulicsapp.com and you go to android.hydraulicsapp.com, and those will get you right to the right place. And I'm going to try and get a free trial so everybody can download it and you can choose to pay for it later. We got to work out those bugs, and Apple's going to determine the price for it and everything. The main thing is that we have to do gallons per minute over 100 squared. Okay, when you go to henway.org, HENWAY.org, Henway. It's a joke from the Marx Brothers. They say, go get me the henway. They come back, they go, what's a henway? Well, about 4 to 6 pounds. It's a female bird, right? So every time I tested my rookies, I would say, okay, give me the henway. They come back and go, what's a henway? They were so nervous, right? Because they have to pass my bar before they can be hired and continue. And they're scared to death because they know they don't know what a henway is. Anyway, so it's Hoffman's Extraordinary New Way. Got it? So that's HEN-WAY, but it's HENWAY.org. Anyway, you'll see what I've done. And that I can take the mathematical calculations that you'll see illustrated on the bottom half of that first page, and I reduce it not to what it takes 2 to 3 minutes in a classroom at the end of the semester of training. I can teach someone in less than an hour how to use my phone app. They can see the math. I don't care about the math. Math is gallons per minute over 100 squared times the coefficient. And in 1944, they did 10,000 test results, and they came up with these numbers. For inch and a half hose, it was multiplier with 24. For 1 inch hose, it was 150. And then in 2005, the Forest Service says, wait a minute, we don't have enough water pressure. Same water pressure I lacked when I had no radio going up the side of the mountain. And as a Cal Fire firefighter since '79. And anyway, the point is this: is that I've taken using Excel and using the phone app. I do all the math for you. All we have to do is estimate what the head pressure is, and I show on page 2 at henway.org a scenario of 1,000 feet being extended to 1,100 feet. And at the bottom half of the first page, I show my new method of running dual lines, cutting the water in half. 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4. It reduces the friction loss component by 75%. They have to be, if they want to go 1,100 feet, they have to be pumping downhill 288 feet on a 26% grade downhill towards the fire. No, we don't do that. Okay, and mine at 1,100 feet is 248, leaving 152 divided by 0.34, blah, blah, blah. Okay, gives me 351 feet of elevation, which is a 32% grade, which is what you see on that second page. So I now have a tool with the phone apps we have to see where we are on the map to get the USGS maps. We can instantly calculate the head pressure as well, and all we can see are brush and timber in front of us. So it's all about anticipation and maintaining that firefighter safe the whole way. So in regards to firefighter safety, if you go to caextortion.com, you'll see how it's surgically removed from CAL FIRE, because I expose, they don't count the water for each lateral, adding 10 gallons a minute to that, to 75, then 85, then 105, 95 rather than 105, 115, 125 gallons a minute per section. They do the whole length at one flow, done, whatever the tacking nozzle is. And a cadet can pass pumping 130 pounds of pressure at the engine. The number that CAL FIRE wants is 330, but the real number is 952. What? 820 pounds less, and they still get appointed. That's what's going on right now. But the bottom line is this: is that they had to get the money for the affirmative action goals by not teaching everybody properly in violation and pay 1,002, blah, blah. I would surgically remove, but that experience has inspired me to write the book, be the first on the planet. I set a record with the U.S. Copyright Office. In 6 weeks, it was copyrighted. But it's all wrong. The published numbers right now are the 1944 results. I didn't know until last COVID, when everything started to go down, and I was at home, that I was actually did the research to find out the numbers had changed. Not from 24 for inch and a half, but 135, and not 150, but 250 for 1 inch hose, which means a 50% error. This is why the hydrants below the ground aren't adequate for the water we need. We have to put LDH 5-inch, large diameter hose above ground, because the pipes down below ground are based on 1944 results with a 50% error. And that when the water flows down a river, it's fast in the middle but slow on the edges. It's friction. It has friction on the inside of the hose the same way, and it's calculated. Regardless how smooth it is, the water trips over itself, and the more water you try and force through, the worse the friction loss gets. And we only have 400 pounds at our engine, we're done. And so if you look at that second engine right there, engine 2 requires 525 pounds pressure. You have to pump downhill in order to get the water pressure, which they'll never do. We'll never pump water down towards the fire, because that's a head with 20-foot flame lengths that will just, can kill our firefighters instantly. All right, so next. That's the breakthrough, and so if you want to go ahead and make a download of the world's first wildland fire hydraulics calculator, you want to copy. There's a lot of firefighters out there who listen to this, but have a mechanical slide rule. I'm the only I believe I'm the only person in the 21st century who's ever invented a mechanical calculator, and it's what the engineers used back in the 30s before they finally had a Casio in their pocket, right? And so anyway, this is amazing. Yeah, so congratulations on that. And it's too bad, Jim, that you didn't get this sent to your office. It's in Melville right now, but they get to play with it there, so maybe Barry can have fun with it. Anyway, the point is that all right, so let's get back to what I really want to communicate. It's like, yeah, I had the career that was terminated. I live on a disability retirement, $3,100 a month. Thank you very much. I lost 2 of my careers, and when you go to caextortion.com, you'll see why. But the point is this: is that we have I want to talk about how do you save a firefighter's life. Okay, so Kyle Wilson, you go to Kyle.HFTFire.com. What happened to him is 6 in the morning, cars in the driveway, gated community, new construction, 2x4s in the attic. 2x4s burn through 5 times faster than 2x6s, but they're lightweight. You put them in a triangle, they can support 10 times the weight. Well, good for you, engineer, until there's a fire. And once one of those members burn through, there's no support. And what happened is you have 2 CEOs that were driving drunk every weekend to party. Okay, I believe this is how it went. But regardless of what happened to Kyle, I'm going to give you a scenario, please. Okay, so the thing is that his family is suffering, and his fiance, there's no support for her. What? Okay, that's really sad. I mean, this love of her life is gone. 100% preventable. And there's no benefits for her. There's got to be something about. We got to do something about that. And that's where you and your community, you can see who needs help in my community, especially a first responder, especially during these COVID-19 issues, right? That we can do this. But the bottom line is, this is what happened: is that these two CEOs said, let's just stumble across the property line instead of driving across town drunk with our families. So they did that. Now, at 6 in the morning, there were 7 people in that home. And Kyle Wilson went to a wind-driven fire, burned through the upstairs, and he went to the first room, the next room, the next room, and then the roof, then the 2x4s burned through 5 times faster. He didn't come out, didn't find anybody. And all of a sudden the roof collapsed, and now he's burning alive. Now, when you have an incident or a firefighter's injured go to hoseroller.net and go to burnover.hoseroller.net. There are YouTube videos. I'll jump right in there. You can see these firefighters being burned over by this engine that was parked next to a tree. Okay? The thing is, we don't come out of our house until we find you. If you're not in there, we don't come out. And with the 2x4s above us, we're dead. Okay? Get your tail to the mailbox. I don't care if it's 3 in the afternoon on a spring day or 3 in the morning, 60 below zero, 80 mile an hour winds and a full-on blizzard. You get out to that mailbox where we're looking for that address. And you tell that first engine, everyone's out. You get out. Okay, that's critical because carbon monoxide will attach to your hemoglobin 16 times more readily than oxygen will. And even if you do go down with carbon monoxide poisoning, we can't give you CPR with 100% O2 because we need hours for the CO to come off your nerve end or off your hemoglobin before the oxygen even gets to your brain, and your brain begins to die in 4.5 minutes. Okay, so get your tail out to the mailbox no matter what. Business owners, you need to have a full accountability, all your personnel, and when stuff goes down, you make contact with that first engine. I don't care if you're a rookie supervisor on your first shift, and now you're in charge, and that fire occurs, you make contact with that incident commander and with that first engine and say, everyone is out. See what happened in Charleston, we lost 9 to 16 firefighters because they sent in 4 rescue teams and a furniture factory, in between, all kinds of debris. I mean, not debris, couches and so forth. Those are gallons of gasoline. And they didn't know that everybody was out. And 9 of the 16 firefighters died searching for no one. Okay, you see a problem here? That's where you, the fire victim, could do something about it, right? Okay, so let's switch gears right now. And so I want to talk about what happened to my daughter. We were in Marine World Africa, USA. Beautiful Saturday afternoon, like 43,000 people. It's like 10:30 in the morning. We're getting ready for the 11 o'clock Lions show, and there's 3,500 people in this one auditorium, and they can watch us all at once. And I tell my wife, and we're already separated, and I tell my wife, I have a 3.5-year-old daughter. My son, who's now a Navy pilot, was like 1.5, whatever. Okay, and what happened is I said, I'm going to go get drinks, and I bolted. And I come back 25 minutes with 5 drinks in my hand. She goes, where's Jackie? I go, what? Are you kidding me? And Jackie's gone. And she's been gone for 25 minutes and neither parent knew it. Are you kidding me? Okay, so I ran to security at the top, and there's my daughter. It was the worst 5 minutes of my life, finding someone in security, or 3 minutes, whatever it was. But my daughter, at 3.5, never felt the worst abandonment ever that affected the rest of her life. Okay, 100% preventable by communicating. This is what we do. On the way to the music park, you teach your kids, this is going to be the procedure, and you review it. Now, when you get there and you're next to the car, you get all the kids lined up wearing the same clothes they're wearing today. Really? Okay, not last year's third grade picture. Got it? And now we have a lineup of everyone in one shot, and then we have everybody look up. Okay, we're at F3, and now they all know F3. Everybody, all the kids have to say F3, right? And then the child closes their eyes and recites what mom or chaperone or dad is wearing. No kidding. That they close their eyes and they can't move from the car and go in the music park until they do this exercise. But they're taught the entire, trip getting there because no one lives right next door to the music park. Get over it, right? So then when you go in, this is what happens, right? See, I thought about this. This had to happen to my daughter for me to be inspired on this. And so what happens is when the child gets separated from the parent, chaperone, whatever, who's lost? The parent is lost. It's an amusement park. This is where you check out your brain. Okay, so the point is that no, the child is instructed, don't move. See, the thing is, my search area for my daughter being gone 25 minutes now includes 15 minutes either direction in the back of a trunk of a car going 90 miles an hour. Yeah, I got a little girl to rape. Are you kidding me? That went through my head. No, the child is instructed to stand where he or she saw parent or chaperone, whatever, and they don't move, okay? And once the parent walks away, that's where they go back to, exactly where the child is. Are you kidding me? Okay, so this is what you teach your kids. Stay put. Do not move. Keep that search area as small as possible. When we have someone with Alzheimer's that leaves a facility, how big is that response area, that search area? It's huge. And the bigger it is, it requires more personnel. The more personnel, we don't have that, especially during this whole COVID-19 thing. So I'm going to jump right into that right now. Okay, it's COVID-19. Okay, we have a mandatory quarantine, and we're police officers. We're firefighters. We're EMTs, right? And we're nurses, whatever, we're in a facility, but they're protected. They have a layer of protection, unlike us, right? We just have gloves or whatever, we can throw a mask on, but we're tackling people to the ground as a peace officer. We're in there touching the patient, making eye contact, consoling them to get them through whatever's going on. And we're now exposed. Where do we go? 2 weeks off. How many firefighters and peace officers, EMTs we have trained across the planet? When they're in quarantine, a lot less. Now, we have new ones that don't have lead time on their books. And guess what? The critical lead time that they need to take a break away from their job so they can be refreshed for the next, 50 weeks or whatever, during that 2-week vacation is gone. And then they have to be quarantined again. Now, who's going to pay their bills? That's where you step in. I'm asking everybody to go to your fire department, go to your police department, and you support these people. Find out who needs help, okay? And it's like, get the word out there that we have firefighters and we have EMTs and we have, police officers, et cetera, that are affected directly, that are mandatory quarantine, that can't work. Once they can't work, workman's comp is saying, well, we're not going to pay the bill. You know why? Because there's too much of a risk of getting at the grocery store. And until they evidence through a hearing and an appeal process that you're actually exposed at work and you win, that's months down the road at the earliest. And meanwhile, you got to pay your bills now. Okay, so workman's comp is being slammed with all these claims, right? So I'm asking everyone, it's like, look at that from the perspective of us. Okay, we need your help, and especially during this time right now. Okay, this is critical, and so just do what you can. I mean, go down there. How can I help out one of your police officers? Is anybody a new police officer with no lead time in the books that's being financially impacted? I don't give to churches unless I really trust the church. But I know I can trust, that money to go to the right place when I go down there. I go to the firehouse, they'll set up, I want them to start a whole program, like what can we do to support our firefighters at the very headquarters of our departments to protect our communities, during this whole deal, right? So that's my request. And then the last thing is that I have another website. It's exteriorfiresprinklersystems.com, okay? And you can go to firebutcherpro.com. And what that is it's a pump that actually pumps water. Now, this is what happened. In the Los Padres National Forest, actually before this stuff really hit the fan, it was in August, had a major forest fire, San Luis Obispo, Monterey County area on the coast. And it's been notorious, big sur, they have big fires. And what happened is that the fire was moving so fast, and we need to have clearance, right? We're talking about 100 feet of defensible space, 30 feet where everything's gone, right? For whatever reason, the conditions were so bad this year that the station was burned over. All they had was 500 gallons of water in that engine, and 15 firefighters had to deploy their fire shelters. That's bad. Their fire shelters are protecting them from radiant heat. There's no cooling effect whatsoever. But if they're not cooking at 1,500 degrees with 30-foot flame lines going over their top, and we had firefighters where the wind was so strong, they lost the other fire shelter, and 2 would jump underneath the shelter, and they would have burn injuries, but they survived. Now, 2 of these firefighters at this fire station that was burned over were flown to Fresno Medical Center. What? Because they were burned trying to save their own station. My exterior sprinkler system there's no law under Title 13 right now, NFPA 13, regarding the installation of sprinkler systems, but I am a distributor for Viking, so Blazemaster, Viking Net, okay, and out of the Pacific Northwest, and I've got all the designs and everything, and I can build the pumps and get them to you. You can buy them online right now, okay, that supports this. Now, I'm going to have my phone app guy, it's switching gears, is going to create a phone app so that it operates the pump in 10-minute bursts, okay, when you're away. So you can be in Hawaii when else is going down. Now, you can activate it from your phone, and what happens is the water is sprayed on the perimeter of your home in a fan-style spray in a manner that the atomized water, not a rainbow going ding, 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 right? Okay, that's one direct hit. No, it's in a fan spray, and everywhere the wind can blow, a water drop is going to be the exact same place that a burning ember could fall. But if it's wet, it won't burn. Now, if I only have 3,000 gallons in a tank, see, I did this from my pool in my backyard. That's 18,000 gallons is 36 fire trucks worth of water. Are you kidding me? And when Southern California has an earthquake, the water mains break, what do the firefighters do for water? Everybody says, I got a pool in the backyard, but they don't have enough suction hose on their engine to reach around the backyard. So if you have a pump at your home, you can pump water out the front. And because you have an extra sprinkler system, 188 homes out of 188 homes in Australia were affected by fire, and they all survived. By what? Having a fan style sprinkler system on the roof. Okay, it ducts up underneath your eaves. You paint it the same color as your eaves. It gets out of the it's a CPVC. It's lightweight PVC pipe that's Title 13 rated. Okay, NFPA 13 fire sprinkler rated. And then I have it come right up to the edge of the gutter, so when the snow comes off the rooftop, it doesn't rip the whole system off the roof. But it's a perimeter; it goes all the way around. I've got a client up in Sheridan, my CPR instructor, a gentleman who's passed a lot of laws for the state of Oregon and so forth, and there's like 9 different states that my certification under the Good Samaritan CPR, blah blah blah. He's my first client, but I've been so busy with this stuff, I haven't been able to shift gears, and we're not in a fire threat, but we will be again next year. Okay, but this will actually protect 100% of 100% of the homes that have it. Okay, and this fire station was burned in Los Padres with 2 other their firefighters being flown medevac with severe burn injuries, and they were out essentially probably the rest of the summer for these burn injuries. It was 100% preventable, but the phone app has the water go for 10 minutes to stop. It doesn't all evaporate, everything's saturated, and then every 10 minutes goes for 1 minute and then resaturates while your well is really filling your 3,000 gallon tank. And so this will greatly affect that. See, this is a safe refuge for firefighters. When they get burned over, they're going to protect the home that's already protecting itself. Get over that, right? Because I've been on instances where I had to decide which one do I save, which one do I not save. And the one that doesn't have the clearance, you're done. Sorry, I don't have the resources to put 20 people on your house to save it when your neighbor's done the right thing. Okay, do what you can, but this extra sprinkler system is vital. Okay, when you pre-treat the fuel with water, because you can't get rid of all of it. Okay, and once it's wet, it won't burn. Okay, and once you have this canopy of this umbrella of water, vapor of atomized water, you are good to go. So watch the video there at exteriorfiresprinklersystem.com and firebusterpro.com is where you can actually. There's others out there. It's like just do it. Okay, just get it done and enjoy your. Like really, how can we be safer? I have no idea what timeline we're on right now, but we've got
about 4 minutes left.
Okay, so anyway, so I invented the world's first ever functional fire hose cabinet, and I was actually in Las Vegas when I got the worst call in my life when my kids were felony kidnapped from the mother's half sister and best friend, held overnight and put on a plane and flown to Denver. Mom flew from Portland to Denver, but she called dispatch in advance and said, I'm a drug dealing pimp, having fun with my prostitutes on a balcony in Las Vegas when I was meeting with Chad Duffy, Title 14 engineer, and I was supposed to meet with an Under Armour laboratory, fire protection specialist. So we're going to have this 3-way meeting, dog and pony show, whatever, demonstrating how this exterior cabinet goes on the outside of the wall. There's 100 feet of coiled hose. Like I said, when you go to hoseroller.net, you can see why Texas A&M University, the dean of students called me in 2006, about 5 weeks after I published this video, and he said, Mr. Hoffman, you're the one that produced the video, and he says, you, sir, are the first firefighter representing millions of firefighters from all 5 continents of the globe to do what we never thought was possible, let alone video demonstrated. See, fire hose is flat. How do you store long flat stuff? Well, you fold it. Would you ever fold a garden hose? No, it doesn't flow water anymore. Why do we fold our fire hose? Because that's what great-great-great-great-grandfather fire chief said in 1892. Okay, and we're traditionalists. Firefighters are in a box. I mean, they can't. It's so crazy, especially the old timers. But I'm an old timer now, so then what the heck, right? And then they have these straight bore nozzles. Like, would you rather have a choice of a straight bore versus combination? Whatever. I have no idea why that shifted back to 1892 as well with a straight bore tip nozzle. But the point is this, is that I've invented the world's first ever functional fire hose cabinet that can be reinstalled in every facility nationwide. It's part of my system I put on a home. And then you have 100 feet of hose with a fire blanket on the outside of it to protect you from the radiant heat in the event you can't use your home. But anyway, it's added protection, right? And my goal is to be able to have a tent that can hold 5 people. And so let's say you're on the 7th floor and you're trapped, you can't get out of the fire. It's like this actually is like a balloon. People can crawl up inside of it. And what happens is that they have breathable air trapped inside this balloon that they seal at the bottom of the floor with everybody in there, having a good time together. But now they're protected from the radiant heat from the structure fire. And when the firefighters go to look for them, guess what? Look for the little silver ball in the corner. The big ball, right? That's on the outside of my hose cabinet, okay? And all the systems there. I got the patent back in 2001, second one 2003. The hose roller transitioned to a rescue winch. Yeah, I go to rescuewinch.com, okay? It's like, I got a lot of things on here. I'm also, enjoying my artwork. Go to rhphotographics.com, okay? And so I've had a lot of time, especially after being surgically removed from CAL FIRE, because I evidence them for pumping 1/3 to one half to 1/3 the water pressure they need. And they could pass cadets today under those auspices, and they made dang sure that when I was during the convention, on November 5th, I was one of 3 firefighters with Kim Zagaris of the California Fire Chief, OES, a gentleman. I don't have his last name. His name is Ben. He's supervises 42 different departments, responsible for them on the East Coast, and myself, talking about where we've been, where we are, where we're going as far as firefighter accountability by location. And because my phone app on my slide rule requires 100% accountability at every step of a hose lay, bingo, they're already in communication with their crews. And now with GaiaGPS.com and Zoleo, who they work with. Zoleo is ZOLEO is a satellite tracking. So when you're outside in a remote area, you have satellites that can use, they'll track everybody later, but it actually has an SOS button. So for $200 and $20 a month, a firefighter can be safe when he's about to be burned over, which we have all the time on wildland fires, because we have a major blow up in one area and we think everybody's out of the air and say, oh no, they were there. And then we wound up losing 19, like we did in Arizona. But it happens repeatedly. And so this is why I was one of the 3, firefighters across North America to discuss, where can we improve this? And that's where my suggestion is. Stand on the giants stand on the shoulders of giants. And the military's got this all worked out. Why can't we? Get off our tail, make this happen. We have a law that was passed in February of 18 that we're now, 7, 8 months, 10 months overdue. Okay, I'm satisfying it completely, and that's where we're at. And so this will help, change that an awful lot. But just go ahead and what was that?
So anyway, if you want to learn more, what's the best way they can? What's the best website, or is there one central location?
Yeah, so I'm going to say, okay, so this is about everybody getting home. You getting home, having a home, and the firefighters getting home. All of it. Okay, everyone and everybody, or everybody, either one, everybody gets home.org. That's the foundation. And if you want to donate money, there for my cause, because there's a lot of other firefighters that lost their careers, like I did from Cal Fire, that said, I'll just go into construction. And they lost their career because they stood up and said, no, don't teach me a manner that burns my firefighters. Okay, and I need attorneys. I mean, this is crazy that, the lawsuits that I have pending right now, that for the right person to get a hold of me, or right law firm, whatever. So I have all the evidence for you. It's already published. It's like, enjoy it, okay? And yeah, they can't do that. And there's no statute of limitations every time they pull something on me. And so I've already made a file of a complaint with the whistleblower director of OSHA, and he's following through right now. And Tom Porter is not having a good day right now. And the Statewide Training Education Advisory Council of the state of California shut down my ideas of how to do the math properly, quickly in the field, to relieve the stress of doing the math in the field for these firefighters. And they shut me down. That's 13 months. It's firefighter safety, and now they're guilty of gross negligence today. And so it's been a real hard travel, but we're not here for the win. We're here for the experience. And so I've been shut down, living on peanuts. And with this label as a psych disability, because they had to label me. I had my attorney, my workers' comp attorney. He said, Rich, we just filed for $3 million. I'm going to get 12%, 360,000. You get 2.64. It's in the year 2000. A week before my hearing, he said, you'll be lucky to get 1% of that, 30 grand. I said, because this involves the felony embezzlement of federal public funding from every taxpayer across the nation, it will be exposed upon being committed by these state appointed officials. They threatened your life, and they paid you off. And he hung up on me. And when I found him at my hearing and another wing, he's laughing with the opposing counsel, both celebrating how they got paid off $250,000 to keep me quiet. And I said, I'm raising 2 teenagers. Too bad we're not going to put these state appointed officials in federal pen. That's where we're at. So yeah, everyone and everybody gets home. Jim, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this opportunity.
A demonstration of your remarkable technology that can be seen on YouTube as well, right?
Yeah, just go to hostroller.net. And when you go to burnover.hostroller.net,
and everything is there.
Yeah, it's all right there. And then Rescue Winch, hostcabinet.com, so rescuewinch.com. I'll have all the list there, but go to everyonegetshome.org and you will see everything. That'll be a link to everywhere else. And I want to promote, Karen Menard and also Kelsey. So I don't have her last name, sweetheart. Anyway, she's going to be, they're both referenced on my website too. And this is a lady that tried to enforce fire codes and she lost her job. And then, and then the very next, and then Karen is very gifted. And so she's been coaching me on how to talk slowly and breathe. Something I need to do this whole interview, right? It's okay. You know what? It's like, I'm very well resolved and I've got evidence against all these courts for committing fraud. I've got Sarah Williams, taking a $2,000 check, cashing $2,000 plus using all of your state and federal tax dollars so that she can represent me, and then threw me in the state hospital and had me mandated on drugs until I finally said, okay, I'll take the hit for all these crimes. It's just like my mind was shut down, my body was shut down. Yeah, a real went through over the cuckoo's nest, and now it's like I was thrown in jail and held in jail and not given the opportunity for a fair trial. Yeah, it's all right there. It's all bananas. That's why they won't even touch it. It's crazy, yes. Anyway.
I just want to let the folks know listening as well, again, that being in the private sector, as we mentioned, the first to copyright wildland fire hydraulics and direct the creation of hydraulicsapp.com and invent that mechanical slide rule, hydraulicslide.com, to calculate total engine pressure in seconds. That's revolutionary stuff, and it really changes the game, Richard.
Yeah, it does. And the whole thing is that had I not been falsely accused and put in jail in solitary confinement with my CPAP machine, which is a weapon, I would not have had the time to complete this. We're not here for the win, folks. We're here for the experience. Whatever you're going through, hang tough, okay? Live to tomorrow. Be a person of integrity. Do not compromise the truth ever. We have personal truth, we have political truth, we have objective truth, okay? Personal is like which way the toilet paper comes off the roll. Political is what CAL FIRE is doing, tyrannizing 3,500 people south of my border here in Oregon, okay, to stay quiet. And then objective is what I created. You cannot dispute it based on research going back 275 years plus. Got it? Okay, so just hang in there, folks. Whatever you're going through, I want to support you there too. I'm a PTSD counselor, and my poor son, what he witnessed during the Hurricane Katrina, where he just delivered food and water to a family on the rooftop, and a boat pulled up, and a guy jumped out, blew away daddy with a wife and 2 daughters there, stole the 3 days of food and water. My son's got this guy in his sights, from hovering at 200 feet away, ready to shoot this guy's head off, could serve justice like that. And they got permission. Did they get permission to intervene with civilian issues? No. The Navy said, fly off. And my son had quit the program. And I talked to him for 3 hours on the phone on how to get through that. Okay. And, but he called me. He's all excited every day about how he's making a difference. He gets to play rescue swimmer before he's done with his training program when he's in Pensacola. That's where the base was. And then he says, what? And it's 45 minutes, Mondays and Thursdays, Tuesdays and Fridays, the next 18 years, doesn't do crap for PTSD. Okay. It's a process. And he had to articulate every detail and then own it. And then finally, at the very end, he says, we did everything we had with what we had. Okay. And because I'm in the military, we flew off. And the last 5 words he said was, it wasn't my fault. Okay. He had to come to that knowing that we objectively looked at every angle, that it wasn't his responsibility that this man was killed after shaking his hand and hugging those 3 women, giving them 3 days of water. Now left them there with no food and water. Okay. And my son had to process that, and that made him even stronger. He graduated top of his class, and then he goes into fight school. Coming up the enlisted side, whoa, talk about inspiration. See, we're not here for the win, we're here for the experience. And what does that experience teach you? That's what we're all about. Okay, that's it. And this is my experience that inspired me to do the work that I'm doing. And I'm not done yet. I'm not going to live to 100 years old. I'm going to live to 115. Oh, would you really want to? Yeah, because see, everybody dies within 2 weeks of that age. No, I'm going to keep going. I have way too much to do, way too much fun. I so appreciate this, Jim. You have no idea. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Good luck with everything. Keep moving forward, and best of luck. And thanks for sharing your story and more about the incredible creations. We encourage folks to make contact. And it was a pleasure having you on Close Up Radio today, Richard. And again, best of luck with everything. And I'm sure we'll talk more down the line.
Okay, so that would be great. And then, guys, email Tom Porter, Director of CAL FIRE, Tom, THOM Porter, PORTR, at fire.ca.gov, and let him know that you don't approve of him having his instructors teach brand new cadets at 130 pounds of pressure at the pump when they need 952, which anything above 400 is impossible on a 2,000 foot hose lay, is absurd, and he needs to be held accountable for burning firefighters for Federal Reserve notes. Your Federal Reserve notes on a lie that, for them to meet affirmative action goals falsely by not training everybody at the capacity they need to be trained. It's a miracle I'm alive right now. These guys have been trying to take me out for decades. They had their chance. No, I'm going to stand up. So, give him a little ring, guys. Email him. Thank you. Because he actually,
All right, you take care. You be well.
Thank you, Jim. You're awesome.
Thanks
I so appreciate everything. Man. Awesome. Thank you, partner. Very good.
All right.
Love you guys.
You're welcome. Take care now.
Everyonegetshome.org.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Perfect. Our very special guest, Richard Hoffman, again, retired correctional fire captain, twice patent inventor and fire command investigation prevention, and hazardous materials specialist instructor. Having him on the show today, very insightful and thought-provoking conversation, and really riveting, learning about that incredible inventions and along the way to make life safer and easier for firefighters and everybody involved. Pleasure having him here. Pleasure having you tuned in all around the world as well, right here on Close Up Radio, a service of award-winning close-up television and radio. For the entire team here, this is your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, stay tuned. I'll be back in less than 20 minutes with another amazing guest here exclusively in Close Up Radio. Till then, for all of us, thanks for being with us. You take care, be well, and have a great day. Bye for now. You have been listening to a broadcast from Close Up Radio, Close Up Television Incorporated. For more information on the show and to be considered for future broadcasts, please visit closeuptelevision.com. You may also learn about us on social media and listen to us on podcast and internet radio. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you have an empowered and productive.
Thank you for using BlogTalkRadio. Goodbye.
So how was that, folks? Where did that come from? Anyway, no, it's hours later. You can see how the light changed. But the main thing is that, again, we're not here for the win. We're here for the experience. Everyone has gifts. Whatever you're going through, hang tough. If it looks like it's too big, just keep remembering to get up again tomorrow, do the same thing, and know that your source of joy is when you have others light up around you. I've had a really challenging time, and I've been very intense, very, obviously agitated. I lost 2 separate careers. The first one on day 3 of the 12-day academy in Ione, California, where they teach today. You can calculate 130 pounds of pressure, when in fact CAL FIRE requires 331 pounds of pressure, calculated friction loss and nozzle pressure, etc., on a wild end hose lay that includes appliance loss. It doesn't even matter anymore. And they don't account for the additional water for each lateral. And because of that, they believe they can pump uphill on an 8% grade for 2,000 feet. And they've used your tax dollars to buy more hose, when in fact the real number is 952 pounds at the engine. That's 550 pounds more than what the truck could produce when it stops and governs. It stops at 400 pounds of pressure. Why not? Why not higher? Because it gets too dangerous for the firefighters. But they're passing today in the year 2021 now. Whatever fire apparatus engineer class they have going, and I own going right now, that a cadet could be off by 200 pounds from Cal Fire's miscalculation upon making it easier for the 22 years they had to capture the other, whatever, 22 cents of the dollar that's federal, because we respond into federal lands. And so we're eligible for federal dollars. That portion of the budget could only be met by meeting affirmative action goals. And how they do it? Well, they didn't feel they had enough time in 12 days to teach the average person they needed at the racial hiring and timetables, not quotas, that the Nixon administration required in order for them to satisfy their budget. And they didn't feel that teaching that you have to you have to calculate for 60 gallons a minute at that nozzle for the last 200 feet, and the previous length is 60 gallons a minute plus 10 gallons a minute for the lateral. Okay, and then hope I said that right. So 60 gallons a minute for the attack nozzle, 10-gallon a minute laterals every 200 feet. Sorry about that. It's been a full day. And that every 200 feet with 10 gallons a minute more, that your flow rates change from 60 to the last 200 feet, 70 to the previous 200 to 60 plus 10, and then 80 for the previous 200 feet, 60 plus 10 plus 10, and then 90 for the previous 200 feet, 60 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10, laterals operating to put the fire out to make sure it doesn't dump the line. And then in the 1,000-foot hose lay with 4 laterals, they're flowing 100 gallons a minute in that first section. But they teach to calculate the whole hose lay length at 60 gallons a minute at 1944 results that have been obsolete since 2005. And using a methodology that they calculate 86, and the real number for a 60-gallon a minute hose lay is 231 pounds of pressure just to get the water there. It's 145 pounds less than what you need. Okay, so this is really serious. And we've had firefighters burned in the name of stealing your Federal Reserve dollars going back 46 years. And in 1996, when California said enough is enough, we need people hired on merit and not, for this reverse discrimination alleged, whatever it is. No, it's like, we're figuring this out. Just trying to make the, level the playing field. I'm the safety compliance manager for our auto wrecking yard. And, it's been an honor. And we have 10 different facilities from Troutdale, through Oregon, all the way down to Red Bluff, California. And a good portion of our employees are Hispanic. I love them. They're so much fun. And I so needed them on my fire crew, because who's going to interpret for me but somebody who's bilingual? I'm not even bilingual. That's incredible that someone could teach, can speak 2 different languages. I admire that right out the gate. But I need them to console that family who is Hispanic, and I can't effectively communicate. I'm here for them. I'm here to make a difference. And it doesn't matter 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning. I'm here for you. How can I help? My helmet number was number 13. Dixon and Mitchell made sure I got the number 13. They were going to give me number 16, right? And I would show up and it'd say 13 on the front of my helmet. They go, oh my God, and it said, unlucky 13. I said, yeah, I'm your worst nightmare. How can I help you? Anyway, the point is, who are you to make a difference for others? That is your source of joy. Okay. And I've gone through the process of being falsely accused, be put in jail, to have 18 hours a day to work on that slide rule. And then I was blessed to find someone local, not someone from India, but Jose Chavez is my phone app guy. And he's been amazing. It's taken 33 months to get where we are right now, because I keep changing stuff. Why? Because I want to make it better. Okay. What's coming next to my slide rule will be the ability to calculate the water tenders. How much water are we flowing? And how many water tenders do we need that can make the turnaround from a water source a certain distance? I'm going to have that math worked out for you too. Right now, all I have is gallons per minute, gallons per hour. And that gallons per hour is what makes that difference. Okay, but I was surgically removed. When I went, the whole next year, 1987, was the worst fire year in California fire history at the time, we had engines coming from all the neighboring states of California. And I was permanent intermittent. And the state personnel board says if you're permanent intermittent, you have to work at least one pay cycle or some hours in that 12 months, or you're going to be terminated. And my battalion chief, James Craig, who gave me the letter of a recommendation about I being an asset to the department, that I supervise my crews professionally, he hasn't taken my call in 34 years because he has to be politically correct. And he can't contact somebody who's been surgically removed because I know too much. That's been my inspiration. And so, yeah, I followed through. And I wrote a book, and I set a record for the U.S. Copyright Office. You know, they told me, it was so funny. 5 weeks I called. I said, so what's the status? And the guy goes, Mr. Hoffman, we have 45 years of transcripts that compares yours to. You think you're going to hear from us in 5 weeks? And he humbled me. He said, if you hear from us in 6 months, you got the copyright. Hear from us in 5, that's pretty cool. 4 months, that's really good. That means you're one of the very few. 3 months, you'd be tying a record. And then the very next week, at 6 weeks, I got called from, or I got hit by publishers and Who's Who in America. I'm going, what? Because I got Who's Who in America on my first patent, and my second patent, and then again when I established my business. But then I realized they'll invite anyone that they can sell a page of their book. And then 2 weeks later, yeah, my copyright, because it takes a while to produce a document and have it mailed to me. I set a record, I believe, because I was told, don't be unrealistic. Bingo, done. 6 weeks, half of the 3-month record that the gentleman from the U.S. Copyright Office told me. Now, when I went back to Nashville, they had a town that burned down, and that town burned down, because the National Park Service, they knew they had a fire. They knew they had weather conditions that were going to be going to hell like we see on the West Coast all the time. But, it rains back there, at least once a week. So there'll be a portion they have, they get wildland fires, but, they can fight fire by blowing the leaves off the top of the green grass. It's pretty cool. They do cut a line around it, right? Well, anyway, so this thing's skunking around. And they know they have 60-mile-an-hour winds and single-digit humidity schedule, but they never called anybody. They didn't ask for resources to be there on the day that 60-mile-an-hour winds, whatever it was, real high and low humidity. And they lost an entire town, and I believe 27 people died. And now the insurance companies are suing the federal government for their incompetency, for not having crews and equipment in place and having evacuation plans for everybody to get out safely. And those people were calling 911 saying it's real smoky here, and then pretty soon they got flames out the back of their home. That's where my sprinkler system comes into play. 3,000-gallon tank will last like a 30,000-gallon tank if it goes for 10 minutes solid, and then every 10 minutes, 1 minute for every 10 minutes. Just keeps it wet. And then when the heat sensors detect fire in the area, it overrides that system and it's 100%. And once the heat goes down, it goes back to the 1 minute, 10 minute on, 1 minute on, 10 minutes off. How did I become inspired to think about this? My neighbors thought I was crazy when I did the video at exteriorfiresprinklersystem.com. It was 3 in the morning, not 3 in the afternoon when I put that sprinkler system in. It's Sacramento in July. It's a little warm on that roof. So I got up there with my flashlight until it burned out and put that entire system up, not knowing I would put this underneath the eaves and have it painted the same color as as the underside of your roof on the eaves, and have an angled head that comes off a T that goes to a 90-degree and comes up and goes flush with the gutters. When the snow comes off your roof in the wintertime, it doesn't rip the whole system out. But how can that make a difference? It's all about making a difference. Like those firefighters and those Padres last year lost their station, because they weren't prepared. They didn't have the equipment in place. Come on, man, we're the top of the world. We should be the experts. And I don't know why they didn't have enough clearance, everything, that's taller than 10 feet. No branch less than 10 feet from the ground for 100 feet, and basically no vegetation for 30 feet around your home. That standard needs to be looked at now that we have the conditions we have. Okay. But when I went back to Nashville, I to the convention. It was a firehouse convention, and I was parked right across the street from the International Fire Service Training Association booth. And I walked across when my girlfriend was watching the booth for me. And Rebecca, she's awesome, my older, bigger sister that's been through hell with me. And I said, "Can I look at your wildland books?" And William Ty, Cal Fire Ranger, whatever, 4, okay? They used his book, Wildland Fire. I've got a copy of it, and I can show it to you right now. But the International Fire Service Training Association took his copyright. So why should they not just, why should they rewrite a book of their own when they have the top of the planet writing a book already? I said, "Can you show me any pages where it talks about pumping water on a wildland incident?" And he left it all out. Why would he leave that out? He brushes it in like 2 pages, done. And then we have, what, 300 more pages? And the officers, to command. The guy's brilliant. Okay, he was my ranger in charge of Butte in '81. He went on to become North Region, then he went to Sacramento, blah, blah. Anyway, so I gave a copy of my first edition of my book that was, in the process of being copyrighted in the record speed that it was. And those top salesmen on the East Coast said they got in touch with their administrative staff. Well, Mike Weeder is the executive director of the International Fire Service Training Association. They're the ones that wrote the IFSTA manual, the essentials, and every other book since then. He's like co-authored like 36 different manuals. He's got his 3rd edition to his hydraulics book, not one page about wildland. Now, so I flew home at 11 o'clock at night on Sunday after spending flying to and from Nashville, all the way across the nation. I was inspired to get out of bed, and I worked 4 hours on my book and cleaned it up. And the next morning at 10 minutes to 10 my time, 10 minutes to 12 Oklahoma State University time, I got a phone call. And I said, "Is this a robocall?" We get so many of them, right? And he goes, "No, this is Mike Weeder of the International Fire Service Training Association from Oklahoma State University." I go, "Let me wake up." Okay. And so we spent the next hour and 10 minutes, almost about an hour and 6 minutes, going over my book. He lost his entire lunch hour thinking what can I learn from him and what could he learn from me? And I broke it down completely. And I had a review on my book. I got 2 stars, and this reviewer said, 1,000 words is a picture. I'm guilty. I'm too close to the fire. Okay. After losing my career at 25, when the battalion chief on day 3 said, "Mr. Hoffman, we know you know what you're talking about." Now, I had 11 confirmed votes for to be president of my class. There were 24 of us. And I asked this question. See, on day 3, they said, "We're going to put together the whole hydraulics deal, right?" And he says, "Yeah, we do the whole 1,000 feet at the flow rate of the attack nozzle." Done. And I wanted to say, "But don't we add 10 gallons a minute like I described a few moments ago?" And the whole class would go, "Oh, Richard's right again." I mean, I'm demonstrating everything. I'm doing the long dog leg on the first try on the first day. That's crazy. Okay, I got it impeccably. I set a record in my class. I did it in 48 seconds. I did it in 47 one time, but I hit 4 counts. So there's a threshold. I'm always freaked out at the graduation because I've been doing it so fast for so long. And I was out there, anyway, until midnight at night, helping out these people that had never even driven a truck before, let alone backwards on a long dog leg. And it was the first class in history that everybody passed every driving evolution, including the long dog leg. What? You only need to worry about 1 mirror at a time. As long as you have 2 inches of clearance on one side, you have 22 inches on the other side. That's really difficult. So the point is this, is that when my battalion chief at the same facility where a prostitute was murdered after they had a little sex ring there, okay, but this is 1986, right? And I've been burned in the previous 5 years of fires any inch past 500 feet. I have no water pressure, no radio, no way to communicate more, and I don't know why. That's because my lieutenant and my captain at the wheel that on one of my fires was taught wrong. Okay, 86 does not equal 231. It's 145 pounds less than what we need. We didn't know that until the 231 until 2005. But it was 158. And they're teaching 72 pounds less. Teaching that? That's a violation of NFPA 1041. Instructors cannot instruct unless they have the job performance requirements to do so, and that means the experience, knowledge, and expertise to do CFR 29, CFR 1910, 156, C1 and C2. Look it up. Firefighters have to be trained properly, often enough, and in a manner not to endanger them. Any issues here? How's your shower at 1/3? You wouldn't like that. Be a firefighter with 1/3 and no way to communicate 600 feet down the line that you want more pressure. Not realizing this battalion chief is going, no, we do the whole 1,000 feet at the flow rate of the attack nozzle. And they believe they can go 331 pounds. When you go to caextortion.com, you'll see where Matthew Malone arrived with 3 other sheriff's deputies with hands-on weapons to have me removed from that fire station on May 10th of 2020. Why? Because I spent an hour and 20 minutes informing them the truth. What truth? It's not just about pointing fingers, it's about creating something that resolves the issue. That's why I'm so dangerous to these guys. That's why I'm asking you to email Mr. Tom Porter, thom.porter@fire.ca.gov, and let him know how you feel about the fact that he has tyrannized 3,500 personnel to stay quiet about this. It's called underthepurplesky.org. Yeah, that one's mine too, right? And to keep them quiet about what happened to me on May, 19th, with a baby at home and a baby on the way. Yeah, my naval aviator was on the way, and I had to put food, shelter, and insurance benefits for my pregnant wife and my 19-month-old daughter born on 9/11. And so when this piece of garbage, the same personality as the gentleman, when you go to takeastand.hftfire.com, I have a music video, and it's the whole dialogue that was gone through, what I've gone through, using musical videos, especially the part about Meg Ryan's, faking it. And that's what they do at the academy. They fake it. But they have to keep it quiet from the federal government because for 22 years they stole that money. And now they don't need the money for affirmative action, but they can't go back in the life to convict themselves of what? So I had 23 confirmed, 11 confirmed votes with 23 of my comrades, of which 23 out of 24 passed. That's crazy. And the only one that didn't pass was a Hispanic gentleman with 3 months experience, only been to like 12 fires the whole previous season, but he met the criteria to promote at what? Nixon's racial hiring and timetables. Far more important than having somebody behind the wheel that's competent. If you're going to put them behind the wheel, train them properly. Then they train them improperly, violating NFPA 1041 and 29 CFR 1910, 156, C1 and C2. So the bottom line is this, is that when that battalion chief at 10:15 in the morning on day 3 says, no, we do the whole 1,000 feet, screw those laterals, that extra water doesn't mean a damn thing. Oh, talk to the National Wildland Firefighter Coordinating Group and look at 3.3 in their little manual. And you tell me what they talk about the 6 different areas that happens when you increase or decrease the water in the hose. And it's not about that. It's about getting people through an easier math equation. It's 1 step and not 5. 5 steps for a 1,000-foot hose leg. It's the DPM affected area of every section of the hose leg. And this battalion chief said, Mr. Hoffman, we know you know what you're talking about. And the entire class went, well, there goes those 11 convert votes. And anybody considering that? And then he didn't wait 3 seconds, like it's kind of cruel to go past that on a practical joke. He waited 7. And then he screamed at the top of his lungs as though he's losing a strike team vengeance on a structure protection assignment on a 90-degree wind change, which we see all the time. That time when the late afternoon, when it goes from an onshore flow to a north wind, when we have a high pressure off the coast of California. And as though he has a trapped strike team, he's on as if he would be on the radio screaming to get them out of there. He screams at the top of his lungs from the front of the class with me in the back of the class, near the doorway, hanging out with all the rowdies. Why? Because I want them to pass. They're so much more fun than everybody in the front row, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's like you're there for a reason. Have the merit of actually that credential that you receive. He screams at the top of his lungs, "Do not confuse the class." I shut the hell up. Listen to this guy do a Meg Ryan fake it for the next 35 minutes until 10 minutes to 11. And now it's break time. And everybody walks past me. You know, I'm sitting there in my chair going, oh my God, we've got burned firefighters going back 12 years now. And it continues today in the year 2020. And I had to process that. How much liability is there to the state of California for every burn injury and burn death that's been involved with any CAL FIRE certified FAE pumping 86 pounds of pressure instead of 231? When that firefighter was injured or burned, workman's comp, state comp insurance funds, tax stakeholders should sue the crap out of them and reverse the liability back in the state of California and get these firefighters, especially the ones like me that raised my hand and were surgically removed, they need their jobs back. We've lost God knows how many firefighters who stood up and said, no, there's 60 and 70 and 80 and 90 and 100 gallons a minute. That's 5 equations. But they can't let that be out. I got 23 comrades that have never been to college before. And yet I graduated top of my class, setting the highest record in history. Under Merritt Lovejoy, the force supervisor of the Stanislaus, the most popular force in the United States to work in. See, it's not what you know or who you know, but it's who knows you. And what happened when I went to that first day of class with Merritt, there was like maybe 18 of us. And on day one, he said, no one's ever gotten an A and no one's ever getting an A. Because that hasn't happened in 15 years. The highest score was 84% or whatever it was. And I said, watch me. And then I said, you know what? If you can't inspire a student to get an A, who are you, an instructor? And I realized he's in charge of every Forest Service, fire personnel, whatever, forestry, you know, every technician through all the ranks. He's where the buck stops there on the most popular forest in the United States to work in. I shut the hell up. But I busted my tail. This is the question. Is a quiz question that important? No, it's just a final, right? Or the midterm. You don't need to worry about those little quizzes. Just drink another beer. It's all good. You can make up for it later. When I handed in my test, I calculated 266 instead of 271 because I thought about 5. I miscalculated an additional 5 psi for one of the laterals. Okay, I'm well within the 10 psi that they allow you to pass an academy. As long as you're within 10 psi, whatever that calculated number is supposed to be, you're good to go. Yeah, CAL FIRE says 200 less. We'll still give it, you'll only count that as 20%. You'll still pass. Good job, Tom Porter. Anyway, so the point is that when I handed in my test, my final, and we were down to like 9 people, and they actually had to get approval to continue the course, and because we had less than 10 for a college class. But Merritt said, no, we've got some really good people in here. We need to continue, and the board allowed it. But he goes, congratulations, Mr. Hoffman, 89.42%, B+. What? And I missed it by 1 quiz question the entire semester. I missed, my grade point average went down as though it could have been 79.51% to get a B- instead of getting the A- and going up with a 4.0 for that class. I go, but no, I'm within 5 pounds of this, of the 271. It says, Mr. Hoffman, yeah, you can pass an academy to be within 10 pounds, but if you don't pump that water at the right pressure, you can kill your firefighters. And I shut up. That was 1981. I was only 20 years old. I worked 1 season in 79 and didn't work out for me in 80. Yeah, I wasn't ready. Okay, 81, I finally got picked up in Butte. And boy, the stories they told, from calling me Calaveras to Butte, it's like my firefighters, a week later, they go, oh my God, we should have heard things we heard about you. Anyway, so the point is this is, it's not what you know or who you know, but it's who knows you. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Anyway, so I begged and pleaded, give me the A-, please. I'm within 10 pounds. He goes, nope, you'll kill your firefighters. I shut the hell up. Now, when my son became a pilot, I told him a story about how important those quiz questions are. And a lot of people wait until they're 25 years old to become a rescue swimmer because they have to be mentally aware, right? My son went in at 18 and a half and kicked tail and was like one of the highest scores in history. Okay. And because he pushed himself that hard. And the point is that I got a B plus and I shut the hell up. And then I went to work later that year in Butte. And then 3 years later, in '84, I'm gonna get away from the state of California. They don't pay anything. There's no overtime. 528 hours on the books, divided by into a $670 paycheck. My first year is only $1.17 an hour. But no, we're paying you above minimum wage for 8 hours, but you're on call the other 16. I would go to fires with the Forest Service, and they're only working 10-hour days, and they're what 10 to or 8 o'clock to 6 or whatever. And anything outside those hours, they were paid time and a half plus hazard pay. I've been on a fire at 3 in the morning. Are they motivated to put the fire out? Hell no. Am I? Hell yeah. Okay, so it was pretty hard. But anyway, so I said, I'm gonna screw this. I'm gonna jump. So all my best friends work for the Forest Service right there in the stance lot. Rick Garner, my co-inventor, my first hose roller. I built the first one in his garage. It's a monster, oh my god. But it's where it belongs now. Okay, but now that we have SolidWorks, I'll be able to pump those things out for me. But anyway, yeah, hoseroller.net. Look at that. Anyway, so all my other friends, and I wanted to jump. And so I applied, and I got a phone call from one of my friends who we played, we're in the same grade, but we did softball, and his mom, or Little League rather, and his mom worked for personnel. She goes, Mr. Hoffman, she goes, Rich, she says, congratulations, you're the first one of only 3 of 607 applicants. First one of 3 of 607 applicants. It's not what who you know, but who knows you. My relationship that I established with Merritt Lovejoy during that semester, so you never know who you're going to meet along the way that's going to have an influence. But he said, yeah, Merritt loved you. He's waiting for you to apply. He's so happy. And I get to be the one to call you. I said, can I ask a question? He goes, yeah. She goes, I said, do you guys have insurance benefits for seasonal, firefighters for pre-existing conditions like pregnancy? My daughter's on the way, born on 9/11/84, Jackie. Oh my gosh, I love her. And she said, of course not. You're seasonal. I said, well, I got to go back to Cal Fire. Sorry. So I went back to Butte. And that's where I worked in Durham, where I was run off by a fire prevention officer and 3 sheriff's deputies with their blood pressure at 300 over 280 and their pulse at 200 with their hands on their unclipped weapons ready to take me down as a 66P, which means of a psychological terrorist threat with 2/3 of my school gone. That was nice. That was May 10th of this year. Okay, so the point is this, is that I didn't know until I did 6 what was going on. And then when that battalion chief screamed at me, do not confuse the class, I shut the hell up. And the next morning they had me set up, I'm going to shorten this, okay, but they had me set up in a fight in the bathroom. How many people need to do the bathroom? 2. How many witnesses are there? None, only the 2. Got it? And the only way to get me out of the academy, knowing what I know, having the backbone, the intelligence, and the support of my group, well, I didn't have that anymore. Because when those other cadets walked past me, they said, I'm not voting for your effing ass. And then it was only 4 of us in the classroom. Okay, after that hour, right? And I stand up and I make eye contact with the battalion chief, and he's got his arms crossed and he's turning his sideways and he goes, don't you dare, motherfucker. I'm a battalion chief with 2 captains that are going, if he's doing that, I'll go like that, not having a clue they've been taught wrong to. So when I walked out the door, 3 of the guys that were promoting me for the presidency of the class, bingo. They go, Rich, what the hell was that all about? And we're like this. And I turned sideways and I turned around and walked away. All 3 said in stereo before stereo was even popular in 1986. They said, what an effing Adam Henry. Yes. And I kept walking. I walked outside and I was like Moses, I parted the Red Sea. Everybody's out there smoking cigarettes and they just got away from me. I kept on walking, sat in a far branch. The break was over. After they're all looking at me, sneering at me, whatever, then they got called in. So I was the last one at the door. When I got to the door, the last student behind me who was so appreciative of all the help that I gave him later and had full respect for me before, held the panic bar of that door and said, "Go home." And that was that next morning that I'm in the bathroom, and the two captains had no clue what I said, which is the first line on the backside of my slide rule. Is not friction loss a direct mathematical function, gallons per minute? Those two captains came in to talk to one of my friends. It's one of those three, actually. He's like 5'8" or whatever, really cool guy. And so we're working together. And these two captains come in and talk to him for like 8 seconds and leave. Now, nowhere, this cadet comes up and hits me as hard as he can, right here in my shoulder, in this area. Palm of hand, no bruises. Chest, no bruise. No evidence of the first punch. No witnesses. Got it? He jumps up my face. He's looking up at me. And he says, "You know, Hoffman, you're nothing but an effing Adam Henry. You should just effing go home," in the most derogatory manner you can imagine. Now, what did Jesus say to do? I don't care about your religion. Fact is, this guy rocked the world, okay? And he was executed for what he knew, all right? And the Pharisees couldn't, have any more servants or food or congregation, get money from their communities. So they had no other choice but to lie to have the Roman soldiers take them out, right? Anyway, Jesus said, "Turn the other cheek." I did that. And guess who walked in 6 seconds later, hoping to witness a fight, get me terminated from that academy with a baby at home and a baby on the way with a pregnant wife, where I cannot not pass this class. Or we're on the curb with my wife holding a sign saying, "Yeah, my husband's too smart, and he got his ass fired from the Cal Fire Academy because he evidenced 46 years of the felony embezzlement of public funding on a lie that 86 equals 231, that 331 pounds of pressure equals 952, and just keep on going." What's really cool about that whole thing, okay, is that Cal Fire has used this lie that they can pump 2,000 feet of hose. They've actually bought extra hose. Now they have the hose on the end to do my handway, which is running the dual lines, which is what we used to do before LDH, which is what we're running half the water in each one of them. 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4. It reduces the friction loss 75%. And that's where 1,100-foot hose lay can be, pumped at 248 beforehead versus 528, which is more than 400 pounds. Got it? These are the results on flat ground. Just to have every lateral open and flowing 75 gallons a minute, which is 25% more water than 60. What does that equate to? When you compare the squares, it's a 56% more effective water stream. Crazy. And 1,100 feet, and I can gate it down to 1,200, down to 25 gallons a minute, and go another 400 feet to 1,500 feet in the same 32% grade. The best that Cal Fire do is pump downhill, 288, 1,100 feet, and only worse farther south. A 2,000-foot hose lay requires them to pump downhill on a negative 71.5% grade. And this battalion chief, who ripped my backside out during that portion of the class, knew that I knew the truth, and it couldn't get out. Well, it is now. I was on the radio with 24 million people on BlogTalk, and that's the way that goes. So the thing is that the rest of the story, all their documentation, okay, how I lost my job with Department of Corrections, I'd put me with the two authors of 9 shifts a month is the same thing as 9 shifts every 4 weeks. It's not. Okay, so now we have a second felony embezzlement of public funding, paying correctional fire captains statewide money that they never earned, and that we didn't work the hours we're supposed to. 9 shifts a month is 108 shifts a year. 9 shifts every 4 weeks, like June 15th, July 12th, July 13th, August 10th, August 11th to September 7th, September 8th, October 5th, whatever it works out. There are 28 day cycles, there's 13 of them. 9 times 13 is not 108, it's 117. Gives us an instant 8.3% raise for the hours that were there. It only occurs when an overtime occurs, which occurs 8.3% more often than it should if we're not there. And that winds up being a 12.5% raise, unratified at the state level. And then with the time off we get at $30 an hour, it's $6,500 in time off at 216 hours added to our all-day vacation sick leave that we're already off. So when I was a probationary fire captain, I had my leave time from my previous job, but I wouldn't otherwise. And I wouldn't be able to touch 1 minute of of leave time until vacation time until after 6 months. I was already off 108 hours for free. And then the first 9 shifts that we worked to come up from 108 to 117 at $30 an hour is $1,100 a shift. $1,100 for one day? Yeah, 24 times time and a half times 30 is 1,100. The first 9 shifts that we owe the state and federal taxpayer come up to our the contract and Fair Labor Standards Act guideline, long as paper is 28 days. Bingo, we get an extra 10 grand in our pocket, $9,900. With 6,500 paid time off, and every hour overtime we get, it's a 12.5% raise. That's pretty cool. I reported it on day 3 when I was told, on day 1 from Mitchell and Dixon, put away 25 grand to kill a fellow peace officer who might have evidence to put you in prison, because the last place you want to be in prison is in the last place you want to be as a peace officer is in prison, and those inmates will kill you. You're dead, and yeah, you'll be raped and beaten, many times over. And he said the way to do that is, yeah, it's pretty crazy, guys. I was told on day 1, with all the overtime, extra overtime at the higher rate, that to put away 25 grand because the inmates we had at that fire station had contacts in East LA that on a phone that's not monitored from that firehouse, like the general population, where we're trying to figure out what's going on the street before we have a riot indoors. And yeah, like 1 in 10 riots were actually reported to the media. It's a lot more different than what you may believe. And I was told by Dixon and Mitchell, and Dixon got me the job. It's not what you know or who you know, right? And I became a hazmat specialist. I spent 3 40-hour weeks with him. And he said, yeah, we're looking for another captain. And I said, here's my resume. I said, better than that, number 1 on the list at Dual prison facility in Tracy. And they hired me off that list, bypassing everyone. And it was a blessing. I got like a 8% raise going for the next step above me. And then I got 2 more raises, and I could finally take care of my family, a lot more effectively. And they told me to put away 25 grand that Mitchell and Dixon both knew of an inmate presently in the 10 that we had, or the 10, of who to contact, so that if someone does have evidence against me, testify, that's going to, if a fellow peace officer has evidence to testify in court, that I talk to Mitchell and Dixon, they talk to the inmate makes a collect call into East LA, wherever it is, and then the following day makes another collect call, the same number. Now, meanwhile, what's happened is there's been a communication through a PO box, several calls in between, that a PO box in a zip code necessary to send 25 grand in cash, $250, $100 bills in an envelope, done, to a PO box. And then your witness in court that could put you in prison to be raped and beaten as a peace officer will be eliminated execution style. And they were serious. Welcome to the new world. This is on day 1. I'm told to put away 25 grand to kill a fellow peace officer. I've got a stepson who's suffered a 2-hour seizure the previous week. They don't know if he's going to survive another 5 minutes, 5 hours, or 5 days. I'm waiting for a call from my fiance that her son's dead. And these guys are telling me how to kill a fellow peace officer. When I came back to duty, I'm working 8-hour days for the first, 21 days of whatever March of that year. This is 94. And this timesheet's been in place for 5 years already. And I had to swallow that and just be with it. No, we're people of integrity, and this is what you can be faithful with. And so what happened was, I came back on Wednesday working my 8-hour day. So I learned all the admin, logistics, and everything, all my responsibilities, so they can cut moves on a 24-hour shift. So third watch, they can rely on me as a fire captain, acting chief, to call the shots and lead my crews effectively, knowing all the procedures in place. I only have 21, 22 days to learn. On day 3 of that 22-day cycle, 22 work days at 8-hour days, Mitchell and Dixon pulled me aside and said, this is the calculation, this is our timesheet. The Fair Labor Standards Act is very specific, 28-day cycles, and it shows the beginning and end of every month. And I said, this is illegal. And so what are you talking about? I hadn't done the numbers yet, but we're being paid for shifts we never work. 9 24-hour shifts are not being worked for the full annual salary. Done. And we get, this is paid time off, plus our overtime is going to be calculated differently, blah, blah, right? It's all going to be at a much higher rate. And I said, this is illegal. And they said, what are you talking about? I said, that violates the Fair Labor Standards Act and the contract. Now what? They looked at each other, they looked at me, and Mitchell goes, listen, you MF, we have $50,000 to kill you, to kill your wife to be Lisa, have Dane disconnected from ICU in UT San Francisco. They even gave me the room number. And his little sister, Carly, age 5, will not be mowed down in the crosswalk, but rather the sidewalk in front of the McDonald's house, for cancer, families, where my family's staying. They threatened me. This is day 3. Everybody goes, God, Rich, why didn't you just leave? And then he says this. He says, oh, because you're a fire investigation instructor, and I'm a fire investigation instructor, and you live 90 miles away in Atascadero from Lemoore, California, and I live only 12 miles away in Hanford, and we both know how to start fires, that there's no way to bring it back to us because we're that well trained to recognize every possible clue, which is the hardest, crime scene to convict, is the evidence of a. That's why it's so important. When you get to the origin of the fire, back your nozzles off, okay? Let it burn itself out, but do not disturb that. Anyway, he said, if a fire were to clear at 967 Tammy Lane, Lemoore, California, you can't drive fast enough to save your 2 little kids. Don't keep your effing mouth shut. And I was finding poison on duty by Dixon, on March 24th, whatever. Okay, and he had 4 amphetamine tablets put in my drink. I'm not going to go to that whole deal. I went to my watch commander, gave him the whole history of what I've been working the tyranny on the last 5 years of trying to be set up to be fired every moment I was on duty. And then he goes, oh my God, he pulls out my drinking beverage. It has 3 white amphetamine tablets and another tablet in the last ounce of fluid. Now, we didn't know it was amphetamines until my investigative lieutenant came down. And, gee, Rich, how can you talk like this? Because it's real for me. It's what really happened. And yeah, I'm going to close this off right here at this point. This gentleman, this investigative lieutenant, he was short. Well, everybody's vertically challenged me. I'm 6 foot what right now. I was 6'4", but he was so much fun, and we just had every time we got a chance to see each other during that previous 5 years. It was awesome. What's going on? I said. He goes, oh my God. And they said, go to the main infirmary, get your blood pressure checked, right? It was 150 over 110, which is normally like 110 over 60. My pulse was like 105 or whatever. It was right in that area. It was at or above 100. And my pulse is normally in the top 50s because I was in such good shape. And they said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want to get my car before Dixon has a chance to cut my brake lines, get the hell home. I'm wired enough. I'll be able to drive home, but I need you to take care of biz. But because Dixon had so much dirt on first, second, third watch, sergeants, lieutenants, captains, everyone up to the warden, they couldn't possibly hold him accountable. And so I had a workman's comp, person come in saying, Rich, what do you want to do? I said, I want to fly a helicopter. She goes, done, right? And then I get a letter from DOJ headquarters, and they said they had a Tic Tac mint in the bottom of a straw after being confirmed amphetamine. It was negative at first, and then it was positive because it was a low dose amphetamine, but it was still 4 felony counts on prison grounds. And then all of a sudden, I'm on the outside of the, the aquarium going, hey, knock, knock, need to get back in here, right? And yeah, that's how I lost my second career. And that's where my attorney, Brown in Stockton, when I finally got to an attorney that actually knew what the hell was going on, he filed a case for $3 million. And he said, I get 12%, 360, you get $2.4 million. I've already filed my first patent, hadn't issued yet. But I'm saying I wore a 9mm. I went north, and I never came. I came back to work for a short period, but it was horrendous. Okay, and anyway, so a week before my hearing, that's where he said, "Well, there's been a mistake. You're going to be lucky to get 30 grand, 1%." I said, "You would not have taken this case. Only worth $3,600. It was worth 360. Now it's only worth 3,600 to you." And I'm not going to get 2.64 million, but rather 26,400. I got 2 teenagers. Now what? And then I said, because this involves a felony embezzlement of federal public funding and all public funding from the state of California twice, those residents, right, that it evidences their fraud and approving this timesheet that I reported to Mayfield. He was my business services manager after I was threatened, by Mitchell and Dixon on that day 3. And I went to his office, and I'm bouncing around here a little bit. I'm sorry, there's a lot of information. But on that day 3, I went to my my supervising peace officer, and I think it's William Mayfield. Yeah. Anyway, and I said, he goes, "How's it going?" And I said, "Going really well. I think I'm going to be able to learn this and master it within my 21, 22 days of this 8-hour shift, and go back in 24, so I'll be ready. However, we have a problem with the timesheet." He goes, "What?" I said, "It violates the Fair Labor Standard Act and the contract." He goes, "If it was wrong, they would have caught it 5 years ago." No, I'm working with the authors, Mitchell and Dixon, right? And so I released, because I was a peace officer, I am sworn to protect all victims from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Foreign means I can go in the military instantly, but domestic. And every taxpayer across the United States is a victim again. Now we got Cal Fire, but now we got Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. And he said, no, if it was right, if your allegations were right, they would have caught it years ago. I said, no, you've been informed. I documented. You are done. Now it's off my shoulders as a peace officer to report it. I did report it, and it was up to him as an administrator, especially a business services manager, bean calendar, and he doesn't know the difference between 9 times 12 and 9 times 13. Yeah, it's a long story, guys. We can do more of it, but the point I'm trying to make here is that Brown and Brown was threatened that he'd have a random drunk driver randomly hit his driver's door at 90 miles an hour at any intersection going home. Didn't protect the state officials guilty of the felony embezzlement of federal public funding in the name of what? Cal Fire, screw firefighter safety. I need to get the budget for affirmative action goals falsely met. And Department of Corrections said, and I reported it. It was already official. I've got everything published at caextortion.com and retaliation, yes, calfireand.com. At the very end of that, you'll see the reports. And then they falsified the evidence report. They said it was March 27th that they did the narcotics testing for the whole list of, narcotic, whatever, amphetamines. They missed it by 3 days. No, they falsified the new one and got the date wrong. Okay, so anyway, that's all published, but my attorney hadn't said, yeah, it's worth $3 million. He was looking, yeah, 360,000. And then he got a little phone call from the director of Department of Corrections saying, you don't do this. And when I caught my attorney with the State Comp Insurance Fund attorney at the end of a hallway in a separate wing, laughing their ass off, celebrating the money they were bribed with to get rid of me. Your money, your federal tax dollars paid off 2 attorneys to make sure this doesn't get exposed. All right, listen, we're at hour 42 minutes. This is crazy. But I did take a break all day. I've been decompressing. And yeah, so just come back to it. It's pretty intense. But I really just have, a couple websites that are really important anymore. But, calfireand.com, okay, shows that, they teach now at 1,100-foot hose leg. The reality is 415.6 pounds of pressure. 1,000 hose leg is 952. Cal Fire 1,100 feet teaches 227. It's 172 psi left over, and 172 divided by 0.434. Okay, so let me hit clear. 172 divided by 0.434. This is the number of head in feet, right? They believe they can pump 400 feet up and divide that by 1,100. Okay, and what that means is it's a 36% grade. Okay, it's a 36% grade, and when in fact we can't pump that on flat ground without losing 15 pounds that a firefighter needs for their safety. Cal Fire is teaching what? And then for the 2,000 hose leg, they only believe 331, and that's what they teach today, as they have since They said, we need graduates in 1974 to meet the Nixon, racial hiring timelines. And because of their genitals and skin color, these white supremacist gods said that they weren't smart enough. Oh, yeah? Talk to that about my president who I honored. Okay, Obama. Get over it. Okay? And I'm pretty excited about this whole deal, with, the changes that we have, Trump, whatever. It's like, yeah, there's been falsified, voting practice forever, but, that's pretty cool. We have a vice president who's female, and, that's awesome. She's a real person. She has the same kind of heart and the same kind of bloodstream that you have. Oh, but it evolved. We all evolved, right? You have 1,000,000 miles of pressurized plumbing from the size of your aorta down to a capillary. That one right there, okay, and no leaks. Ask a plumber to do 1,000,000 miles of plumbing with no leaks. That repairs itself. And you think we're here for what? Because it rained on the rocks for millions of years? You're here for a purpose. Right it. So by all means, guys, okay, let's just kick tail and hold those accountable. Email Tom Porter, TOHTHOM.Porter, PORTER, at fire.ca.gov, and let them know how you feel. I don't want to eliminate the whole Army. The Statewide Training Education Advisory Council, or the state of California, they had a 45-day window for public input. And I submitted my other version with the wrong numbers, but the same numbers that Cal Fire uses only applied properly, because I didn't know until March and April that we actually had an issue with an article printed in 2006 regarding results of 2005, and then I did a simple search for my book online and went, that's interesting. So when you go to everyonegetshome.org, you'll see it published right there, and that verifies, it'll glaze over your eyes when you got it. It's pretty, intense, but I'm a scientist, I'm also an artist, but, you know, um, the thing is that, the statewide training and education advisory council, who Ronnie Coleman was in charge of, even Ronnie Coleman said, Cal Fire is the only fire department they know of will look you right in the eye and lie to you. Yeah. Okay, I gave him a copy of my book when he was honored on his last meeting in February of 2020. He had me in the minutes, but I passed the microphone without saying I was even there. There was an obligation for them to review my technology I've been working on, motivated since I lost my job in 1987 when I was terminated by the state of California after working not 1 second or the worst fire year in history at the time, with the letters of recommendation and everything else, not even, and I placed in rank 4. The next time I was tested, are you kidding me? It's on a network. And so I gave the U.S. Fire Administrator a copy of my book. Yeah, 2 stars, 1,000 words is the picture. I'm too close to the fire. Okay, I'm going to clean it up. But what I wanted to say about Mike Weeder is that he listened to me for an hour and 10 minutes when I came back from Nashville last year. And now he's blocked my email addresses. What? Because he knows his best friend, Bill Tye, is going to be hung out to dry on this. Because if Bill Tye published how the Academy teaches 86 equals 231, the entire world would laugh at Bill Tye. He would lose all credibility. If he publishes that 231 equals 231, it would destroy the credibility of the hiring academy. But the hiring academy, it's all right. We can get away with it because there's 3,500 tyrannized personnel that will not open their mouth and say, no, you're teaching me wrong. And that's when someone invented underthepurplesky.org. That's mine. And I have beyondthepurplesky.org, which goes to a PDF file that shows a breakdown, created a spreadsheet that all I do is change the gallons per minute and it instantly changes everything else. It's crazy. Okay. From, a 200-foot hose lay to 1,600-foot hose lay. And the difference that my N-way, Hoffman's extraordinary new way of running dual lines into, 2 males, 2 double females, reverse gated Y, double male, T, gated Y. You don't charge that outside line until it's all connected. And then you go 600 feet, charge it. Now at between 600 and 700 feet, I just reduced my friction loss by what? Crazy, like 67%. And then I go down 400 feet and do it all over again. But I run a dual line on the outside of my hose light. And because Cal Fire, this whole thing, right? They've been taught they can pump a 2,000 hose light. They bought more hose with your tax dollars. And now they have the hose that I need to ask them to purchase to actually do the hand right, and they're already equipped. That's crazy. So my mechanical slide rule is the only mechanical calculator I'm aware of in the 21st century. There's never been a need. But why did I create that? I created that for one reason. Phone apps cannot be relied upon. This goes dead, we're done. Now what? Is that a good excuse to sacrifice firefighter safety? No. But thank you God I was falsely accused and thrown in jail. I had the time to do it because anybody that's having a normal job would not have the time. And I've been so ineffective comparatively when I've been all these other things I had to do, create, I'm still trying to get the help file down for my phone apps and it's almost done. But I've got a poster now that shows the simple 6 steps. When you go to henway.org, go to the 3rd page and it's that, what I'm talking about. And I combine those files, it's a PDF, you can print it off. It teaches you how to use this. It shows you the math that you're responsible for, and then how I bypass that by going 248 and then 400 psi with 350 feet of elevation on 1,100 foot hose lay with an illustration of a 1,000 foot hose lay on a 32% grade going an extra 100 feet. So have I closed on my my thoughts? It's getting late and I want to eat dinner, and I really appreciate you guys for listening up to this point. But I want to know that you're victims, okay? Everybody, every taxpayer across the United States is a victim of CAL FIRE. And I don't want to get rid of the whole statewide training education advisory council. I want to hold them accountable. Okay, we need to get some dead wood out there because 13 months ago, they got my technology. It's a firefighter safety issue. As a safety compliance manager, I was immediately hit with a Oregon OSHA violation regarding a forklift incident where a guy jumped off the forklift or put in reverse. It was backing up with no backup alarm, and he was yelling, screaming at a primary employee, and then a second employee was walking in front of a forklift backing up with no alarm. He didn't even know it was there. It's all on video. And I addressed it in a way that I shut down Oregon OSHA with the Eugene office in 72 hours. They exonerated us. I had 10 days to respond about something that was someone almost got hurt. Okay. Then when COVID hit, only had 5 days to respond when I had a complaint, had to write out complete policies for all 10 auto wrecking yards and all the procedures of selling equipment, how to get it from our stock shelves and get it safely to the front bay door, stand back, and have the money exchanged with gloved hands and everything, and in a way that there was never anybody being less than 6 feet apart. So one thing about this whole COVID thing in regards to that, the 6 feet apart is everything. That's when people get colds, regardless of mask or no mask. You're not, fit tested to OSHA standards, and you can wear a T-shirt like this, right? That's okay. Okay. But no, I have a policy. Nobody can be within 6 feet of another employee ever, okay, during an 8-hour shift for more than 15 minutes. And only then during an emergency. I've had 4 positives, 3 confirmed positives, and not one outbreak in any of my yards. Why? Because I created the policy. I only had 5 days to answer to for a COVID complaint when the CDC didn't even know what to do. And I got that shut down in 2 weeks because they weren't going to give it to me in 72 hours like last time because it was too fluid. We didn't know enough. Am I thorough? Hell yeah. Okay, I addressed every issue and there was no reply other than thank you for addressing this twice. No, OSHA's up your backside. You don't want them up your backside. And the federal OSHA whistleblower who had a webinar for anybody that wanted to blow the whistle, losing my career, 34 years ago, 1986, I did. And then the whistleblower director contacted me and said, would you please forward your information? And then on day 2 of the Wildland Urban Interface Convention, I was asked on day 1, November 4, an exclusive invitation from Chelsea, from the International Association of Fire Chiefs, to speak with Billy Freeman from the First Responder Network, working with AT&T, so that when we have cell towers that go down, on these incidents, whether it's fire, hurricane, whatever, that they have a way of improvising so that our first responders don't lose communication at the level that compromises our ability to save your life. And I was one of only 3, and here's a gentleman, I still don't have his name, from Virginia, in charge of 42 different departments, but Jim Zagaris, the author of Firescope, not Cal Fire, but the California Fire Chief, and myself, the only three talking with Billy Freeman about where we've been, where we are now, and what we can do to make sure our crews are safe by knowing 24/7 situation status, with a SOS button they can push. And this is where I push GoDaddy GPS big time, GoDaddyGPS.com. And they work with, Leo. And when you go to, my phone apps and everything, I have it referenced in my dialogue. But the thing is that the Leo is a satellite tracking device that hikers use. And they put it in their pocket. It doesn't matter where the cell site is, which you're not going to find in, the backwoods of the, Yosemite or someplace. And with satellite tracking, you have the ability to hit an SOS button, which is received, and they send first responders to you, and they know exactly where you are on that map. Wouldn't that be smart to have that in every firefighter right now today? But because my phone app, my side row requires that accountability of knowing where your firefighters are to properly calculate, I was invited as one of the top 3 firefighters in the nation. But that was only because it's not what I knew or who I knew. It's the fact that the whistleblower director of federal OSHA made sure that happened. I guarantee that was my only link. I can't figure it out any other way. And then I contacted Tom Porter on the 14th and 15th of December, right before Christmas, that I'm contacting the whistleblower director of OSHA regarding this little issue. 13 months after I approached, his statewide training education advisory council, that blew me off and said, no, we're not going to look at this. You're in charge of firefighter safety, and how many hours has it been? 120 hours, okay? 40 hours, 10 days since since November of 2019. How about since 2016 when I hit Cal OSHA and I got a reply back on April 12th, 4 days after I filed on April 4th with a complaint to Cal OSHA on my birthday, my 55th birthday, where I would get 60, I was at 55 to get my full retirement. I'm living on what? A disability retirement? Really? And so what did he do? So the dog, Cal OSHA, John Weiss, decided he was going to send me a letter by email, and he was so nervous when he did it that he said, okay, so they have a form letter. And the last time that they do exonerate a business, they say your concerns do not fall within the jurisdiction of occupational health and safety. And they give the address. And the address was filled out by whoever it was sent to last time. And it says Cal Fire at 1619th 9th Street, okay, and P.O. Box 94226, whatever it is. And then they said McColmy Hill. Sorry, dumbass John Weiss, but Cal Fire threatened you, stating you would never do an investigation because my investigation evidence says 86 is not equal to 231. And we've been burning firefighters for 46 years in the name of your Federal Reserve notes. And so my complaint will not be investigated, but he was so nervous at the death threat that he got from Kenny Penlot et al., who was the director of Cal Fire at the time, and that he didn't even correct McColmy Hill to Sacramento before he emailed it to me. It's right there. And then when I hit them in November, I hit every Cal OSHA office statewide last year, okay, in November. I had 207 emails. I had everybody in Department of Corrections, everybody in Cal Fire, and every email address I could figure out from Cal OSHA, right, the Department of Industrial Relations. And I hold them accountable. And this Eamon Shablak, okay, go to AYMAN Shiblak. Yeah, Shiblak, SHIBLAK, CalFireN.com, and you'll see his letter he sent saying that I had to produce a Title 8, a California Title 8 code before he would investigate. Until then, screw you. Cal Fires are gods, and they're not going to tell us that pumping 1/2 or 1/3 and 1/10 the water pressure, 130 pounds versus 952, and a cadet passes today. 200 PSI, less than what CAL FIRE says. Well, it's only worth 20% of the grade because we can't change the standard. When we changed the standard 46 years ago to get the women and minorities to pass because we don't have any faith in them and their ability. And I got a letter in November of or December of 2019 saying my concerns do not fall within the jurisdiction of occupational health and safety from Eamon Shiblak of the San Bernardino County. He's a manager, district manager for that office. What? Okay, do you feel it's okay to burn firefighters to Federal Reserve notes and keep the lie hidden and tyrannize 3,500 personnel so they don't open their mouth? Question. What are you gonna do about it? Go to fire.ca.gov, and that's CAL FIRE. Any name you see listed there. See, this is what they did when I contacted them in 2015 with the evidence that's found at underthepurplesky.org, right, which is a portion of the 4-page PDF that breaks down what the real world teaches, what CAL FIRE teaches, and the percent error, right? Anyway, so the point is this: is that when I sent that in February, Friday the 13th, in 2015, I sat down, because I talked to a captain there, an instructor at the academy in October when I was going through town at 5 o'clock, and I said, do you instruct, do you instruct fire hydraulics? He goes, yeah. What do you want to learn? So I was able to confirm that they do the whole 1,000 feet, whatever length, at the flow rate of the attack nozzle. However, so when I hit John Weiss, John Weiss 2016, when I hit CAL FIRE, they had like 70 email addresses that were published on their site. And by Monday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, when they read my email from Friday the 13th and saw the evidence that the Academy is teaching under the purple sky method, 86 equals 231, a good portion of them blocked me when I hit them again, but they were stripped off every email address. Download the PDF. If it's just a nickname or their name, it's that first name dot their last name at fire.ca.gov, and slam them and say, hold your personnel at the academy accountable, teach it right, and get rid of the director. Okay, so I don't want to lose everybody with this training. I want to make sure that Kenny Pimlott, who shut me down in 2015, 2016, and Tom Porter, okay, so it's it's Ken Pimlott, PIMLOTT at fire.ca.gov, okay, and slam them and say, who the hell are you to be contacted regarding this issue that you, the tail, can wag the dog, Cal OSHA, Department of Industrial Relations, and threaten a Don Weiss, a district manager, that he says there's no need to investigate, and then Eamon Shiblak of San Bernardino do the same thing. Okay, and just do you not get this? Okay, so this is why it's so big, and this is why I have to talk about it forever. I wanted to let it go, but I've given it away to the whistleblower director of Federal OSHA is on their way. And on the 22nd of December, I made damn sure everybody on the statewide training education advisory council during this 45-day period where I submitted again my technology. The deadline's midnight. We're at 6 o'clock right now. And, here today on January 5th, for anybody to make a suggestion to the Statewide Training Education Advisory Council. And they blew me off last year. And the point is that we need to hold them accountable. But Tom Porter and Kenny Pimlott have tyrannized their staff to make sure they keep it hidden and concealed. And they know that. And the whistleblower director of Federal OSHA is on their way. And they're going to watch the rats eat the rats from within. Try who's going to save their ass. Well, I just want both Kenny Pimlott and any directors going back to 1974 that are still alive to be fully held accountable and thrown in federal pen for this felony embezzlement of your public funding, and be held accountable for violating OSHA 29 CFR 1910-156 C1 and C2, in which what Eamon Shiblak says, give me a Title 8. What? Federal OSHA, California, can be the same or more. He wants to know what Title 8 code has been passed that's more strict than federal OSHA that Kenny Pimlott And, Bill Ty, who's left that whole portion out of his book, and now Mike Weeder, okay, who won't have any communication with me whatsoever. He doesn't even know that the whistleblower directors of the OIG's office for Federal OSHA, Office Inspector General regarding the money, and the whistleblower director of Federal OSHA is on the way. And they're going to just sit back and go, yeah, we have all the evidence. And they're teaching today to burn firefighters for your Federal Reserve notes. So how do you live with all that? My poor girlfriend, oh my gosh. Anyway, have a wonderful, safe year. Be COVID safe. Stay 6 feet away, mask or no mask. When you're with your family and you're sitting there at a table by yourself outdoors, take the mask off and enjoy yourself. You live together, right? But the thing is make sure that you are protected as much as you can anytime around anybody you don't live with. Let's get this sucker done, okay? Keep it contained, and please support my firefighters, my police officers, firefighters, EMTs, etc. Don't have a lead time in the books at a mandatory quarantine while they dive in and help everybody. They don't have a choice being more than 6 feet away. They can't do their job. What can you do in your community to support them, right? And make sure you put something at the end of the driveway, that mailbox, 3 in the afternoon on a spring day, 3 in the morning, 30 below, 60-mile-an-hour winds, full-on blizzard. You make contact with somebody who can make contact, who can communicate to all crews year out. And the moment that happens, it turns into a training ground. And every time I've gone to a fire that there wasn't a life threat, if any of my crew got a scratch on their little finger, I had them written up for insubordination and being unsafe. On a training fire, how much of this foundation can we say? If there's somebody in there, we're going in. All I want to see is elbows and backsides. And let's get them out as fast as possible, because that carbon monoxide that they're breathing in is going to take hours to get off. And if we can somehow get to that point of adding more oxygen than what the CO carbon monoxide prevents, we're far better. Okay, but let's get the hell out. And so please just go to everyonegetshome.org. Okay? Yeah, it's not the kid that's lost, it's the parents that's lost. Be accountable. When we open the doors up again to all the music parks, during the radio broadcast.